Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Dylan Burk. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's the end of the day, so it's always a bonus to get to have a nice chat with someone.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
So we're here to talk about you, your music, and your new single that you just released. But for those who are new, can you give a little intro about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a Canadian country singer, obviously. I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. And about the age of three, my parents packed up and moved to Milton, Ontario. And for the past 10 years, I've been at the grind trying to make it in Canadian country music.
I mean, you've got some pretty good accolades under your name so far, so looks like it's going good.
Yeah, thank you. You get your ups and downs, but, so far it's been an amazing ride. And yeah, it's going pretty great right now.
hmm So early music, how did you get started on this career path?
I started out, kind of just out of high school. One of the big stories I like to tell, kind of how I got started, was I ended up was walking through a mall and they had a like a Bose speaker store, and I ended up walking in there and they had this big tarp with this Bose system that had a microphone attached to it, and it was about $2,000, so I had some money saved up to the side, so I decided to take that $2,000 and invest it in the speaker, and I practiced on that for a couple of years, and then started to do like little karaoke competitions and stuff, and started learning about guitar and stuff and music theory, and about 2 years after that, I decided to really pursue music, and yeah, here I am today.
hmm Do you remember like the first album that you bought that was kind of like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever heard type of thing?
Yeah, you know what? My parents actually bought me a Lone Star CD when I was super young,
Okay.
and it was one specific song. It was called "Mr. Mom" on it that I just liked a lot. So, and I
hmm
was going through a kind of like a rock phase, but I always loved country. My parents played it nonstop, and yeah, so Lone Star, or I tried to get my hands on a Paul Brandt CD. I told my parents a lot about that, but at the time they couldn't get it. But I got the Lone Star one, so I had that cranked a lot.
That's not bad. I'm a fan of Lone Star, and I'm trying to like I look back at the first album I bought, and I honestly think it was the soundtrack to Grosse Point Blank, the movie, which is
Yeah,
super weird, but it's because it had so many songs on it from different artists that I wanted to listen to.
yeah, that's great.
So just a random one, like Blister in the Sun, I think was like the one I played the most out of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, and even still today, I still, now with all the new vehicles, it's hard to find, a car or a truck that has a CD player now. But
hmm
I still listen to CDs all the time, and don't get me wrong, I love the streaming platforms now, but I still like to throw in my old CDs, and I have quite a few of them. So
Yeah, I've got a stack of my favorites still that my wife hasn't told me to get rid of yet. So,
are any of them scratched, or are they pretty good? They
oh,
still.
so, some of them are a little bit messed up. They've been beat up a little bit, and the cases are cracked, things like that. So,
Yeah, I get into the habit of putting, different CDs in different cases. So,
yeah, I've done that.
I'll find a Jason Aldean CD and a Luke Bryan album. So
Definitely, I've done that with DVDs too. If I'm switching them out, I'll have just random DVDs throughout everything. So,
yeah.
so the main reason we're here to talk today is about your new single that you just released. I think it was last week or something like that.
Yeah,
Ashes.
yeah. Not this past Friday, but the past Friday. Yeah.
How has that release been like taken so far?
Really good. It was the first single that we had underneath the J Word Artist Group. So underneath the label I was signed with. So, you know, um, it was great, and especially be able to contribute into the song, not per se with the songwriting, but being able to choose, the song, and, have a great team back me up on, the decision. And yeah, so far we've been getting a lot of great support from playlisting and stuff like that, which, for a lot of years, that was always one thing I felt like I was lacking. And it seems to be like in the past year and a half, Spotify, Apple, and even Amazon now are just, being so amazing with putting my music on playlist and getting it out there more. So it's been going really good. And I think the music video, which was my first music video, I think today we just hit 60,000 views. And it's only been like a week and a half. So that was pretty cool to see, because my YouTube was another one that was kind of down there. So the fact that it's getting so much traction, such a you know, light period of time is pretty cool.
Yeah, videos are making a huge comeback right now. They seem to be important because there's just so many singles being released. You know, the visual for something like that just kind of hits home a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And even with this, I always said, I mean, I've been releasing, I guess I would say, releasing uh, proper recorded music for about 6 years now. And I always said I wanted to wait to do a music video until the day that I actually had the budget to put a proper one together. And, for my first music video, I loved it. It went super well, especially having a great team behind me to be there and kind of guide me through the process was great.
Yeah, it's important to have that backing and stuff like that. Although I do find that you don't necessarily need a big budget as long as you tell a story properly in a video. Like my team, we like to try, like I have a guy who's purely video, and the whole plan is to try to do like a one camera scenario where you're just telling a story and not have, blowing out things.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of your stuff. It looks great. Yeah.
hmm Now, what's the process that you go through when you're putting together like a single or a track or something like that?
It first starts off, even when I first time with J Word, I ended up getting flown down to Nashville and I got to sit down in a songwrite with Tebe and Danik. And, we sat down, we were writing a song, and I actually had Tebe look at me and, show me some new music. I got to kind of see a little bit behind the scenes of what he's been working on.
Okay.
And there was this really good song called Ashes that I heard, and I was kind of hooked on it the first, I think, 20 seconds, that the song was playing. And we decided to cut that song, so I flew back down to Nashville, and my producer Danik, we just started working on the song in the studio, mixing, mastering, and everything when it was completed, and yeah, it turned into what it is today.
Nice. Do you find it hard to kind of put yourself into a song that you don't have a part in writing?
No, I'm a really big person on cutting other people's songs, and even trying to even tell their story. As much as I love writing my own stuff, I think right now I have like 200 and I think last time I looked like 250 songs sitting in a file that is all stuff I've written. And it seems to be when I hear a song pitch, I like it a lot better than the stuff that I write. It has to be
hmm
a really special song. Actually, the first song I ever released that I wrote was a song called What If I? And, at that time, it was one of the best songs I've ever put out. But I don't know. I just love cutting other people's songs, and kind of cut the song from their perspective as well.
hmm
And, it's great. Yeah, I love doing both, but I love to cut people's songs. So.
How do you think your music has evolved from, let's say, going back to like 2019, where you have Looking Like That? How do you think it's evolved up until now?
Uh, More so just understanding kind of what I want. I'm really lucky that when I worked on my first EP, which was called Longer with Jason Matthews, and he worked a lot with like Luke Bryan and a lot of other big names. But at that time, I was so new. I felt like I didn't know where I could contribute, and because they were at such a higher level, I was like, okay, I'll just take a step back, kind of let them do their thing. But now I find that I'm a lot more into what's going on. I'm not afraid to kind of like if I don't necessarily like something about the direction that's going, it's easy to change, and that's what I love about actually my label J Word. They're so good about letting me have that voice. And that's always been a big thing that I've wanted is just to have that voice. And yeah, even today, my music has just evolved so much. And, what you're hearing is what I truly want to put out,
hmm
and even considering back like 8 years ago, which that music you can't even find anymore. Um, it was just, I would say not the best. So, I've definitely, grown as an artist and, I'm going to keep growing.
For
So.
sure. I read in a previous interview you did, I think it was like 2020 is on my notes, that you were releasing singles. You released a couple kind of in the same day or around the same time because you didn't want to come off as going rock and roll when you're truly a country person. So
Yeah.
how has that grown over the years now? Because you're very much into the genre of country rock, it seems like.
Yeah, I try to, everybody always says my voice really fits the country rock, and it seems that country rock over the past year has been, I guess, bigger, than the past. But yeah, I put out two songs because one of them was so rock that, people were going to think, is this guy, going to turn it into the next Nickelback,
Mm-hmm.
But no, I had a Whiskey Mine come out, which is rock, but Breaking Point was definitely really, really rock. But I love the direction we went with it. Again, those were two song pitches I got from Jordan Rager, and I've kind of been looking at his work for so many years and admiring what he's been doing. And when I brought it to my producer, I was saying to him, "Can we try to turn Breaking Point kind of just a little bit lighter, just so it's not so rock?" And then my producer Dwayne looked at me and says, let's just rock it. You got the voice from it. Let's just put it out, and let's go with this. And I've never regretted that decision, because I love to. At that time, I also feel like I was throwing things to the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
But now I kind of have my two directions. I really love that, or three directions now. Really, I love the pop country. I love a little bit of rock country, and I've been really getting into kind of like the trap style country.
Yeah.
Kind of like Morgan Wallen feel. So I like to mix it up a little bit, but yeah, most of the time I kind of stick to the rockier side of country.
It definitely seems to suit you, but it's nice that you're experimenting with kind of going into slightly different genres and mixing them together. It seems like the go-to these days.
Yeah, and country now is, it's such a mix now. I feel like eventually we're going to get to a point where, you can kind of pass anything off as country at
Mm-hmm.
this, because, so many different, but I love it. I always say that you look back at the era when pop country was coming about, you look at Florida Georgia Line, I felt like they really started in the Luke Bryan started that kind of pop. And now you got someone like Morgan Wallen who's coming in and starting to do a little bit more of that trap country style and some, but you can also see on his album he does go back to the popular side. He has a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of rock in there, so it's cool to see that you can kind of be a little bit more diverse with country.
I think the biggest reason for that is country is all about storytelling. So if you're able to tell a story when you're throwing your song out there, it kind of doesn't matter where you put it.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice. You can still talk about your dog and your truck and getting your heart broken with a little bit, rock in there. So it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, we're in the summer swing of everything, and live shows are crazy going right now, and festivals and tours. And you've had a few names under your belt that you've opened for. Is there anything new that's coming up on your end?
You, one of the big things that me and my team sat down and talked about was I really wanted to focus on recording this year, and being able to build on my music. So I decided to just take a step back from live shows this year and kind of work on pushing out new music and just really doubling down on the recording process. Um, you know, so I'm taking it a little bit easy right now. I know after COVID, I got really excited, and I booked a whole bunch of shows last year, and we had a great, shows. We had a whole bunch of shows. We traveled. We went all the way up north for a whole bunch of shows, and just had a great time. I got to play with my buddy Jade and open for him, and but this year we decided, and it was really hard, especially this weekend, because I went to the CMAOs and
Yeah.
everybody everything. So, I was getting really excited to kind of get back out there, but I decided, take a step back, really work on myself as an artist and work on new music, and then, come out strong in 2024.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on the music scene these days? Everyone's it seems like everyone's in a race now to put stuff out and to get their name out there a little bit more. It's almost oversaturated.
Yeah, I find, yeah, I mean, I look at that like sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. I like to just, put out more quality, I guess, than the quantity. But a lot of people are still putting out the quantity and like amazing quality. But I like for the one song to get the most attention that it can,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I know that's weird me saying that considering I dropped two singles on the same, but yeah, I always love for my, a song to be put out, really get the traction. Like we released What If I, the song that I wrote, and we didn't release another one, I believe, for like 8 months, which I guess it was at that kind of 5 month mark, I started to get a little bit of itch to put out more music. But I really liked how I waited. I really gave What If I a really good, push. And then now I can make its way to Give Ashes a really good light. And we're going to do the same thing even with our next single. So it's great, to do it like that more say.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any artists out there, like you were talking about opening for Jade, things like that? Is there anyone out there that you think more people should be checking out?
Um, I'm a Canadian country or American.
Whatever's on your radar right now.
Ooh, okay. That's you know what I've been really digging a newer up and coming artist, Graham Scott Fleming,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I actually got to meet him yesterday. I've been listening to his songs for the past little while, and yeah, he's got some killer vocal and music, So I've been, and I also got to meet Ryan Langdon, I think, for more so the first time, and we found out we're generally from the same area. So, yeah, he's another one that I've been listening to for a while. That I think those are two artists that I just really been digging their stuff right now.
Yeah, I've seen Graham's name come across my emails a couple times too. So that was more frequent now. So it's interesting to see the people coming up more these days.
Yeah, he's great, So even his new single that he just released was a really really good one. So I got that one playing quite a bit. So.
Hmm. What do you think? Well, how important do you think it is to have social media now in your repertoire?
Oh, I don't think I'd be where I'm at if I didn't have social media kind of getting, my music out there. And I'm slowly starting to work my way into the TikTok scene, I guess, too. You
Yeah.
know, and for I guess it was 2020, I guess, when everybody said that no label will sign you if you're not have a big following on TikTok. So that really scared me because at that time I kind of went, well, I don't really want to dance around
Hmm.
and do, but like I said, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for Instagram, Facebook, promoting my stuff, meeting new people, getting my music out there. And, I'm looking at it like it's such a tool that, even now with TikTok, it's something that I really want to kind of push a little bit more because it's such a great platform to get your name out there and, let other people see your music that aren't already seeing it on Spotify or Apple and stuff.
Yeah, and really for TikTok, I think the nice thing for musicians is you don't necessarily need to be out there doing the dances and stuff like that. If you can just get one of your songs played on someone else doing the dances, then you're golden at that point.
Yeah, and I've seen that a few times. It was kind of cool actually. I released a song about 4 years ago now, and it was actually written by Chase Rice, which if anybody knows me, massive Chase Rice fan. I ended up recording the song, releasing it, and then like 3 years later, there's a line dancing business in Nashville, and they actually use that song "Take It Off" to dance to. So I always go on once in a while and check it out, and
Hmm.
I see people out in the mud playing my songs and stuff like that. Driving around, and that was a big thing starting this because I remember listening to artists growing up, and have the car windows down on a nice summer day, cranking a song that you love so much, and and you just get that feeling of the song. And I think what else is cool is, I'm able to work with a lot of these artists that I grew up listening to or going through that phase of trying to build myself up. And, I get to work with a lot of them now. So it's really cool because, first thing I always say is, I remember this, particular day that I had your song blasting. It was me and my buddies in a truck, driving on a dirt road. And, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Is there something that you do outside of music to kind of keep yourself grounded? Like, do you have some fun hobbies you like to distract yourself with?
Yeah, I'm a big kind of classic car guy, and my family's like a big classic car,
Hmm.
So we dabble in cars and stuff like that. I play some hockey, and I don't actually drink at all, so it's not like one of my things is going to the bar with my buddies anymore. So, but just going over with my buddies, and but a lot of my time is just spent doing music, So as far as hobby goes, I'm not the type. I can't really sit there and play like a video game for long. I think I sit
Hmm.
down play. video game for like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta go do something else. This is too much.
I used to be the video game guy, but then there's just so many things going on, and to dedicate the time to that seems, I don't know if it's not, I can't do it.
Yeah, I just yeah, I want to. It's funny. There's a lot of times where I'm sitting there doing nothing, and I want to be that person, but I just I'm after about 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, what's the point? But some people really love that stuff, and like I said, I'll play for 5 minutes, but anything more than that, I gotta get off.
And I mean, it's fun too. I used to be a hockey player. Your dad was a hockey player, so you've got a little bit of that, and you can get some exercise that way too. And
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit more easier now since the competitiveness of it and having a dad that played at a professional level, isn't there anymore. So it's a lot better to be able to actually have fun with it now. Considering when I was growing up, it was very very competitive. So and it was funny. Even the first time I told him I wanted to be a country singer, him having that competitive background in hockey really pushes me in my music, and
okay,
that if you really want this, you got to really work on it. And I'm a big advocate for when people are sleeping, I'm still doing music. So I truly believe a lot of success is built from that.
yeah, they always say it's be the hardest person working in the room at all times, kind of thing.
Exactly, exactly. So
Hmm. So I have a couple fun questions I like to ask, especially on first time interviews. Kind of gets more insight about who you are. First one is, what's something on your go-to playlist that people wouldn't expect you're listening to?
ooh, um, oh, that's a tough one. I've been really getting into well, not getting into um just like the older 80s music and stuff. Like I'm a big Hall and Oates fan, so
Okay.
I'll play a lot of Hall and Oates and stuff, and that's kind of one of my dreams too, to work with one of them one day. So big Hall and Oates fan. That's probably one right there.
No, that's pretty fun. I have some Hall and Oates on my playlist too.
Yeah, yeah, mine's pretty pretty stock, but yeah.
Hmm. So another good one. This one's a bit more of a thinker. It's, what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
Oh, um,
This could be something that maybe you want to know more about an artist, or someone might want to. You just think in general someone should know more about.
I think I more so think like what are the steps, because I find that not only do fans, listen to this, I feel like a lot of up and coming artists, and when I first started this, the amount of mistakes that I made, and I didn't find that anybody, there wasn't really many people that talked about what you can do to get more singles out there, who to talk to get out there more. I would definitely like to see that a little bit more, probably.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And I like this question because it helps me, curate questions a little bit easier. So that's actually one I haven't heard yet.
You might end up asking the question near the end, so I might be pulling the trigger a little soon on that one. But
That's
yeah,
not on my list actually.
okay,
So I'm gonna make sure I note that
I'll,
one though.
I'll stick to that one then. Perfect.
Hmm. So kind of two important questions is, as a first time listener, what's the track you would recommend somebody listen to introduce your music to them?
Uh, you know what? And I'm not saying this just because it is my first label release, but Ashes. I find it really does have a mix I of what I've been trying to accomplish, and it has to be Ashes, most definitely. That's my number one right there.
Okay, no, I mean it makes sense because it's the nearest and dearest to your heart right now.
Oh, 100%.
Hmm. And then, what do you hope people take away from your music?
You know, uh, One big thing, I hope maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, they can tell me, just the experiences they had with my music. I find with music more so than anything, when you hear a song that you haven't heard in a long time, I find it can really bring you back to that time that you were in when you first heard that song, and it can make such a massive impact. And for me, the amount of songs that I used to listen to, and the minute I turn them back on, like I said, I'm back, in 2016, driving with my buddies, just it's such a great time, and I love just hearing songs that bring me back to a great time. And even this moment now, I'm hearing songs that I know from in another 2 years, I'll listen back and go, wow, I remember this and that. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
No, I like that. It's a great takeaway for that. Final question I have, the most important question is why music? Why do you keep pursuing this career of yours?
Since I was young, I've watched, the amount of impact music can have, and the feeling behind music, and you know, I even if I wasn't, making money off of it, or climbing up like I'm trying to do, at least, or like I am, I would still be doing it because it's just one of those things. For me, music is probably the biggest part of my life, and I wouldn't be who I am, I guess, without music and the things I've learned and the things I've taken away from music. I don't think I'd be the person I am today if I didn't do music. So
Makes sense. If it's in your blood, that's what you should be doing.
exactly.
Well, that's all the notes I have written down. Is there any kind of final tidbits or words of wisdom you want to leave for people?
Yeah, I would love for people to check out my music. I have an Instagram page at Dylan Burk Music. Check me out on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon, all wherever you guys get your music. And any other music artists out there, trying to climb up right now, don't give up. For me, I started off, I was at a stoplight last year, and I was wondering if this was ever going to happen for me. I was, going, okay, how much time do I have? I haven't been offered a label deal. It's been a long time now. And then, I just kept putting my head down and working. And finally, as of December, I signed my first label deal, and things have been going really great. So, any new artists, there, don't give up. Dreams do come true, and keep up the grind.
No, it's awesome, and all new artists should hear things like that. They should hear that the journey does work sometimes.
Yeah, you get a lot of sad moments, but I'll tell you, all those sad moments, go away once you get these amazing moments that happen. So now I only look at the positive, and anything that happens, I kind of just consider a little bump in the road, and I keep my head up and keep going, and things seem to keep paying off. So I'm looking forward to see where I go from here.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to all the releases to come. You're on my list of people to watch out for right now, and I have a playlist I can start adding songs to periodically, and I,
Oh,
I
perfect.
I'm looking forward to more stuff for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I had a great time getting to chat with you and getting to learn a little bit more about you, and I mean, I'm sure we'll get to do this again at some point. I always like to catch up with friends that we're talking to, so I mean,
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, look, anytime.
we'll call it now, and you can enjoy the rest of your evening. And looking forward to some more stuff. And I'll make sure I link, all your socials and everything, whatever we can find into the description of the video, just to help people get to listen to your music a little bit more.
Sounds good. No, it was a real pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. You enjoy your evening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right, bye now.